welcome to another Excel demo with Rich Kerr. In this scenario, I've got a list of call records that maybe, let's say we've downloaded from our CRM tool, or maybe we're just using Excel to record our call notes just row by row. And I'd like to be able to filter this data and show just the date and the notes for a specific customer. Now, of course, one kind of traditional way would be to go to your data tab and turn on your filter icon. So let's say I were looking for all the call notes for Apex Corp. I could hit the drop down, uncheck select all, just check Apex, click OK, and then I have the call notes. And that's great. But of course, I need to unfilter to go back to seeing everything else. And I'm also contending with the fact that there's a lot of data that's not really useful in that moment. If I just need to look at the history or what was discussed, I don't really need to see for each record that the city is New York and this is the revenue, the phone number, and the contact. So let's look at another way we can do this without using the filter tool, but rather by doing a formula. So I'm going to skip over a column and create a heading called customer. And let's go with that same customer, Apex Corp. So what I'm going to do is write a formula that selects only the records that equal Apex Corp, but only the specific columns. And I'm going to pick just the date and the notes columns to show up. So I only want to see the data from the first column and the last column, right? So column 1, and I guess that's column 8. Okay, so here we'll do equals filter. So we're first going to start with just finding out which rows match Apex Corp. Okay, so where it says array, you could start by selecting this entire array of call notes. So that's A2 through H452 in this case, comma, and where it says include, I would select the customer data. So that's C2 through C452, and we would set that equal to the cell where we typed in our criteria, Apex Corp. So this is one half of what we're trying to do. I want to filter this data set to only show the rows where the values in column C match what's in J2. So when I hit my enter key, it works. And there's a couple of things I need to do. First, I need to take care of some formatting related issues. So first, I'm going to select these columns and auto fit the columns, and then I'm going to select column J, and I'll select the whole column here just because I don't know how many records there might be in future filters. So we'll set that to date. I'll select column K, and we'll set that to time. And actually, I don't need the seconds component of the time value. So we'll go into the more detailed formatting window and choose just where it has the hour and the minutes. Then this column, I think, is the revenue column. And then this column is the phone number column. So we'll go into the expanded formatting once again and go to special and phone number. Okay. So again, now I've pulled out the data that we saw a moment ago when we just filtered using the drop downs, except I mentioned then I only really want to see the date and the notes. So we've got the filter working, but now I just need to choose the columns that suit my needs. So we're going to wrap this filter formula inside the CHOOSECOLS function. So the CHOOSECOLS function lets me specify an array of data. And in this case, the array of data is the result of this filter formula. So that's already taken care of. That's my array, comma, and then you specify by number which columns you want. So if I want the first column, which has the dates, that would be column number 1, comma, and then column number 8 has the notes. So I only want those 2 columns. So I'm specifying by index number or position number which columns I want. So now I have both the date and the notes column. And there we go. So that works. And so now I have a much smaller summary of what is in the original data set. And if I choose a different customer, so if I choose Odyssey Corp, we get a different result set, right? So it's filtering that data and pulling out just the date and the notes. So this can be a great way to summarize and pull that data over to the side, nice and compact, and I don't have all those other columns. Last thing I'll do in this scenario is instead of typing in, you guys can hear my dog Blaze in the background. Blaze, settle down. We're working over here. So what we'll do is we'll change cell G2 to a drop down. We'll change cell G2 into a drop down so that you don't have to try to type it in manually. So let's go to the data tab of the ribbon. And for cell J2, I'm going to click data validation. And the type of validation is going to be list. So we're going to do a list style validation. And where it says source, I'm going to reference everything in column C. So you could select the whole column, but then of course, you've got the word customer there, which is not really needed. You can kind of do this part however you want. I'm just going to say C2 and then Control Shift down arrow to select all the way down to the bottom. Now, if you want to make an allotment for future entries, you could change that number to C1000 or something, but you get the idea. So what it does, what's nice about the data validation tool is even though in that list, this customer may appear multiple times, and we know that it does, if you just look at it, you'll see that those customers are in there many times. The data validation tool just gives you a unique list, right? So I can scroll through this and find the value that I want and just pick it. And so now I have a drop down of all my all my customers that I have notes for. The other nice thing about the data validation drop down list is that these days it's a little bit of an improvement over previous iterations is it has the progressive search. So if I start typing in MER, it'll automatically find the item in the list that matches. And that was not the behavior some versions ago. So we like that you can sort of just dynamically filter. Now, of course, it's not in alphabetical order. It's just in the order that the data is over here. You could certainly create another list somewhere that is a sorted version of the data in C and just use that if you wanted to. But that's the basics. So you can take your CRM data, and with the choose calls and filter functions, you can extract a small subset of that data and review your notes before your next call so you know how to approach that contact. I hope you find this useful. Please tune in again soon for more Excel demos with Rich Kerr. Have a productive day. Peace.